like kind of confusing.
Oh my God.
It says the alleged father is not excluded as the biological father of the fetus. What does that mean?
What?
It says the alleged father is not excluded as the biological father of the fetus.
Let me you the father. Babe, that's me, you're the father.
Is not excluded.
You the father, nigga.
Oh, that's what that means?
You a weird ass nigga. What? You
Are you
wanted
sure?
to? You wanted to be it.
I'm saying,
so
are you sure?
weird.
You didn't even read the paper.
You call me dumb, but you the slow one.
It says the alleged father is not. Why they write it like this though? They could have just been like more player.
Yeah, they. Are you confident? Cause you still don't understand.
I think I get it. Not excluded.
You're not excluded, meaning you the father.
The moment Karlissa quietly slid the words DNA test into the conversation, the internet didn't just react, it short-circuited. Timelines froze. Group chats went viral. And suddenly, Chriseanrock's reaction became the loudest sound in the room, even when she wasn't saying a word. Because when someone reacts that hard, that fast, people start asking questions they weren't even brave enough to Google before. This wasn't a casual family check-in. This wasn't a just for peace of mind situation. This felt like a plot twist ripped straight out of a reality show that got canceled for being too messy. And somehow, it made the Kardashians look like a PTA meeting. One DNA test, one baby, one family already hanging by a thread, and suddenly the entire saga hit a new level of chaos. The wildest part, nobody had even seen results yet. No paperwork, no envelope, no confirmation, just the idea of a test. And Chrisean's reaction alone set the internet on fire. When people panic before proof drops, fans start connecting dots that were never supposed to be connected. And from that moment on, the question wasn't what the DNA test would show. This whole situation didn't start with a DNA test. It started with tension that never left the room. From the moment Junior entered the picture, nothing about this story felt calm, private, or settled. Every smile looked forced. Every caption felt calculated. Every family interaction came with an invisible disclaimer. This is not over. Karlissa didn't just wake up one morning and decide to play detective. This was months of side-eye, unanswered questions, and moments that didn't line up. When people say a mother's intuition, this is what they mean, that feeling that something is off, even when nobody wants to say it out loud. And Karlissa, she's never been the type to whisper. She's the type to light a match and watch who panics first. The background matters. This family has never handled things quietly. Drama isn't a phase here, it's a communication style. Every disagreement becomes content. Every suspicion turns into a public debate. So when whispers started floating around about Junior, they didn't stay whispers for long. Fans noticed timelines. Comment sections turned into amateur forensic labs. People compared dates, appearances, statements, screenshots. Suddenly, strangers online were doing math nobody asked them to do. And in the middle of all that noise, Karlissa made her move. She didn't scream. She didn't rant for hours. She didn't tease it with 10 different posts. She dropped the idea of a DNA test like a grenade and stepped back to watch who dove for cover. That's the part people aren't talking about enough. When someone calmly suggests verification, it usually means the doubt has already been living rent-free for a while. Now here's where it gets interesting. Chrisean didn't respond the way people expected. There was no calm reassurance, no confident dismissal. No, of course, whatever makes everyone feel better. Instead, her reaction felt explosive, defensive, emotional in a way that didn't match a simple request. And the internet caught that immediately. Because if everything is fine, you don't spiral. If everything is solid, you don't snap. If everything is clear, you don't start swinging at shadows. Her response wasn't just loud, it was layered. Anger mixed with sarcasm. Hurt wrapped in deflection. And the more she reacted, the more people leaned in. Fans weren't just watching anymore. They were analyzing tone, timing, body language. Every pause became suspicious. Every word choice got dissected like evidence in a courtroom run by Twitter. The wild part is that no one had accused her directly. Not publicly, at least. Karlissa hadn't named names. She hadn't dropped allegations with receipts attached. All she did was suggest a test. And somehow, that suggestion alone cracked something open. That's when the narrative shifted. This stopped being about curiosity and started feeling like confirmation to people who already had doubts. The reaction became the story. Memes popped up within minutes. Side-by-side clips started circulating. Commentators went from "this is messy" to "this is" telling. The internet loves nothing more than a reaction that feels bigger than the situation. And Chrisean's reaction felt massive. People started asking questions they hadn't dared to ask before. Why now? Why this level of anger? Why not shut it down calmly? Why not laugh it off? The louder the response got, the more viewers felt like they were watching someone fight a narrative they couldn't control. Meanwhile, Karlissa stayed relatively composed. That contrast didn't help. One side emotional, the other seemingly unbothered. One side reacting like the house was on fire, the other acting like she simply asked for the smoke alarm to be checked. Optics matter online, and the optics here were brutal. The situation instantly turned into a loyalty test. Fans picked sides overnight. Some defended Chrisean fiercely, arguing that she's constantly attacked and exhausted by non-stop scrutiny. Others said the reaction was exactly why the question needed to be asked. And in true internet fashion, Nuance packed its bags and left the chat. The pressure mounted fast. Influencer pages reposted clips. Reaction channels rewound moments frame by frame. Even people who swore they were done with this saga somehow knew every detail within hours. That's when you know something has hit a nerve culturally. This wasn't just gossip, it was becoming a spectacle. And let's be honest, the history doesn't help. This family's past is filled with public arguments, messy receipts, and moments that aged badly within weeks. So when Karlissa stepped into the role of investigator, people didn't see it as random. They saw it as inevitable. Like this storyline had been loading for a while, waiting for the right trigger. Chrisean supporters tried to flip the narrative quickly. They argued that anyone would react emotionally when their child is questioned. And that's fair, no one likes their integrity challenged. But the internet isn't a courtroom with empathy. It's a coliseum. And reactions are judged harshly, especially when they feel disproportionate. What made it worse was the silence that followed. After the initial blow-up, things went quiet. No clear clarification. No joint statement. No calming explanation. Just tension hanging in the air, thick enough to choke a timeline refresh button. Silence in online culture is never neutral. It's interpreted, speculated, twisted. At this point, the DNA test itself almost became secondary. The focus shifted to behavior, to vibes, to energy. People weren't waiting for results. They were convinced the reaction already told them everything they needed to know. That's dangerous territory, because once the internet decides a narrative, facts become optional. And that's exactly where this story landed. A simple suggestion turned into a scandal. A reaction turned into a verdict. And a family issue turned into public entertainment. But this was only the beginning. Because once the internet smells uncertainty, it doesn't stop at questions. It escalates, it digs, it drags in anyone remotely connected. And next, this wasn't just about Karlissa and Chrisean anymore. It was about reputation. It was about credibility. It was about who people believed and who they were ready to doubt. Once the reaction clips started looping, this situation stopped being a family issue and turned into full-blown internet sport. Not debate, not discussion, sport. People picked teams, jerseys on, logic off. And the louder the arguments got, the more the algorithm smiled like it had just hit the lottery. Memes came first. They always do. Screenshots of Chrisean mid-expression with captions like "When the truth walks in uninvited" and "DNA test got her acting like the Wi-Fi just went out." Savage. absolutely subtle. Not even a little. Twitter turned into a comedy club with no bouncer, and everyone thought they were the headliner. But then came the reaction channels. That's when things escalated from jokes to full conspiracy documentaries filmed in bedrooms with LED lights and fake concern. Suddenly, everybody was an expert in body language, psychology, and genetics, all at the same time. People were pausing videos, zooming in on facial twitches, rewinding sentences like they were decoding the Zapruder film. This pause right here. That's guilt. No, that laugh was defensive. Why did she say that word and not this one? At this point, logic had left the building entirely. Celebrities started chiming in indirectly, which somehow made it worse. Nobody said names, but everybody knew who they were talking about. Cryptic tweets about truth always coming out started floating around. Instagram stories with vague captions like "protect your peace" and "some lies don't survive receipts." And you already know what the comments did with that. People connected dots that might not have even existed. One influencer posts a thinking emoji. Boom, it's about the DNA test. Another posts a popcorn gif. Congratulations, you're now part of the scandal. Even silence became suspicious. If you weren't defending Chrisean loudly enough, people assumed you were siding with Karlissa. Neutrality was cancelled. The public outrage phase kicked in right after. Some viewers accused Karlissa of exploiting the situation for attention. They said dragging a DNA test into the public eye was unnecessary, messy, and emotionally reckless. Others clapped back hard, arguing that transparency was the only way to shut rumors down once and for all. The comment sections looked like virtual boxing rings. No moderators. No mercy. And right in the middle of all this chaos, Chrisean's past came back like a bad sequel nobody asked for. Old clips resurfaced. Old arguments. Old moments people had conveniently forgotten until they suddenly mattered again. Internet detectives dug through timelines like archaeologists searching for fossils. Dates got re-examined. Statements got replayed. Anything that didn't line up perfectly got labeled suspicious in bold. Letters. This is where the story took a sharp turn from messy to uncomfortable, because the conversation stopped being about facts and started being about character. People weren't asking what happened anymore. They were asking what kind of person would react like this. And once the internet decides to psychoanalyze someone, there's no appeal process. The comparisons got wild. People said this saga made reality TV look scripted. Others joked that Netflix should already be filming because this had more twists than half their crime documentaries. One viral comment said, "This makes Maury look like a family counseling session." And honestly, that comment did numbers for a reason. Karlissa's calm demeanor during all of this didn't go unnoticed either. Every time she posted something unrelated, a normal photo, a casual caption, people read it like a chess move. She's unbothered. That's confidence. That's someone who knows something. Whether that was true or not didn't even matter anymore. Perception had taken the whole. Chrisean, on the other hand, looked like she was fighting the narrative in real time and losing ground. The more emotional her responses appeared, the more critics framed it as deflection. Supporters said she was being unfairly provoked. Detractors said the mask was slipping. Both sides swore they were right, and neither was listening. Brands quietly distanced themselves. Collaborators went silent. Industry people stopped engaging publicly. That's when you know a scandal is doing real damage. Not when people are talking, when people stop. The memes slowed down, replaced by longer threads. Think pieces. Unpopular opinion posts that weren't unpopular at all. People started saying things like, "I wanted to believe her, but," and that "but" carried a lot of weight. Public opinion doesn't flip overnight, it erodes. And you could see the erosion happening in real time. Then came the wildest twist. Fans started saying the DNA test didn't even matter anymore. That's right. The supposed center of the controversy became irrelevant. According to the internet jury, the reaction had already sealed the verdict. Results or not, minds were made up. That's how powerful perception is online. Once a narrative feels emotionally satisfying, facts become optional add-ons. The outrage reached peak levels when people began speculating about the future. What happens if the results confirm one thing? What happens if they don't? Who apologizes? Who disappears? Who doubles down? Suddenly, this wasn't just gossip, it was a countdown. And through all of it, one thing was clear. This situation was no longer controllable. No PR spin could clean it up. No clarification could rewind it. No silence could suffocate it. The story had grown bigger than the people involved. It had turned into a symbol of trust, doubt, and the internet's obsession with watching personal lives unravel in real time. And just when it felt like the chaos had peaked, the real consequences started creeping in quietly off camera. Behind the scenes, where reputations don't get likes. They get damaged because scandals don't end when the noise fades. When the noise finally slowed, that's when the real consequences showed up. Not in trending tabs or viral clips, but in quiet shifts people don't screenshot. Phone calls stopped getting answered. Support turned into distance. Smiles turned into hesitation. That's how scandals actually work. They don't end with a bang. They end with people quietly stepping back like they were never there in the first place. Chrisean didn't just lose control of the story. She lost control of how people read her. Every move suddenly came with subtitles she didn't write. A joke felt defensive. A smile felt forced. Silence felt suspicious. The internet had already decided she was on trial, and from that point on, everything looked like evidence. The worst part was that no response worked anymore. Speaking made people say she was spiraling. Staying quiet made people say she was hiding. Emotion was labeled guilt. Confidence was labeled denial. Once public opinion locks in, you're no longer reacting to reality. You're reacting to perception. And perception doesn't need facts to survive. Meanwhile, Karlissa's image shifted without her doing much at all. She wasn't louder, she wasn't more dramatic, she was just calmer. And online, calm reads as control. Control reads as confidence. Confidence reads as truth. Fair or not, the contrast worked in her favor, and the narrative started tilting hard. People reframed her move as strategic instead of messy. Calculated instead of emotional, necessary instead of invasive. In a story filled with explosions, the person who barely reacts ends up looking like the one holding the detonator. That's how optics work. And optics don't ask for permission. Family dynamics started looking fractured in public. Support didn't look united anymore. The energy felt off. Fans noticed who stopped engaging, who stayed neutral, and who quietly drifted away. Silence became louder than any argument that came before it, and people filled those gaps with their own conclusions. Then the conversation crossed a line it shouldn't have crossed. JR stopped being a child and started being treated like a storyline. People speculated about identity, futures, and outcomes like they were discussing a season finale. The same crowd screaming for truth forgot there was a real person at the center of all this noise. That's when even some supporters got uncomfortable. The fun drained out of the chaos. The jokes slowed. The tone shifted. Because when drama stops being entertaining and starts feeling invasive, the audience doesn't disappear. It just judges harder. Brands noticed. Collaborators noticed.